everyone, my name is Ashli MacDonald and here's my presentation on disruptive technologies. A few facts stuck out in the BBC article was that careers that make approximately $30,000 a year are 5 times more likely to be replaced by automation than those that make $100,000 a year. Additionally, 1/3 of jobs could be replaced in the UK, most of which being in the lower income bracket. According to this article, many of the jobs are being replaced with new jobs that haven't been around in the past. So for example, social media intern and database management. They also brought up a fear of major job losses and a larger gap between the lower and upper class unless something is done about these automation levels. Although there is a fear that there will be major job losses due to automation, with a study done by Deloitte, found that jobs with a low risk of being automated grew by 3.5 million between 2001 and 2015, while the jobs at high risk of being automated only lost 800,000 jobs within the UK. Another study by Rotman found that demand for lower skilled jobs raised in the past few years. So jobs like restaurant workers, janitors, healthcare aides, and other service workers has increased in demand. So this has caused what they call a hollowing out of the middle class, which makes the gap between low and high class quite large. I came across a great Canadian article called The Talented Mr. Robot, which gave a great overview of the problems of automation in Canada. So this image shows that on the left you see that 42% of Canadian jobs are at high risk of being automated and 36% are at a low risk of being automated in the next 10 to 20 years. So here are the top 5 highest and lowest job sectors in Canada that could be automated. In the top includes retail salesperson, admin assistants, food counter attendants, cashiers, and transport truck drivers. And in the lowest categories are retail, wholesale trade managers, registered nurses, and teachers. At first I was hesitant to believe that these industries could be at such high risk of automation. And then I remembered what happened to all the video stores across Canada 5+ years ago, where they all had to shut down due to Netflix and movie channels like that coming out. So it's interesting to see how much disruptive technology has affected us in the past few years. So the first and most looked at ethical issue of automation is job loss. So lower class families already struggle to make do, and however when these jobs disappear, these people are left with no work. Another issue I could see rising is loss of human interaction. So when technology is prominent as it is, more people are starting to work from home and they just don't have as much physical social interaction. The last main one that I foresee is forcing people into taking secondary education. This could be bad because some people just don't want to and it's a lot of money. And then when they come out of school, so many people will be looking for jobs which may not be there for them. So the first risk to society is one I find that's hard to avoid with this age of automation. When lower paid jobs are no longer abundant, people either slip into poverty or will go into get an education. This leaves a pretty big gap from low class to high class. However, there is good news. In an article done by Ernst and others, they found that the predictions for the amount of jobs being lost by automation may be lower than previously thought. Many predictions for the amount of jobs at risk for automation were calculated on occupation and not specific tasks. So many tasks with the occupation would be hard to automate, therefore it cuts the number down by quite a bit. Another big risk to society is loss of jobs. So there's another great study called the State of Canada's Technology Sector that shows how many jobs in technology and IT sector there is. Shows that there's been quite an increase in technology-related jobs, and it makes up to 5.7% of all Canadian jobs right now. So I'm going to focus on how to mitigate these risks in Canada and how we can make this transition easier. The article, The Talented Mr. Robot by the Brookfield Institute, gave 3 good ways to lessen this impact. The first is to take a deeper dive into high-risk occupations. So this is aimed at reducing the amount of jobs lost by automation. We should focus research on what occupations can withstand automation and how they can adapt to the rise in technologies. The next key is to focus on our strengths. So we need to focus on our strengths in technology and ensure that innovation will create new jobs and allow Canada to grow. So a good example currently is in Alberta. They're attempting to create new jobs in the oil industry by looking into new technologies that will lower Alberta's emissions. Last point is to provide education and training. So the higher educated occupations have a lesser chance of being automated, and they'll be able to adapt to their current jobs if disruptive technologies are implemented. So that's it for my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.